Hello Corkies, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a comparison of our benchmark bourbon here on Cork and Java. It's our mid-shelf bourbon of choice, Buffalo Trace, with the Woodford Reserve. They're very similar from what I remember, but I've not tried them head to head together. So we're going to see how they compare. Stay tuned. Hello everybody, welcome back to corkandjava.com, and we all know you're supposed to get joy and fascination from even the little things in life that most people take for granted. So here at Cork and Java, we're here to expand and enrich your experience with all of your favorite beverages through wine, coffee, and other beverage reviews and how-tos. So if that sounds interesting to you, consider hitting that subscribe button down below and the little bell so you're notified when all of our future videos come out. All right, our benchmark bourbon of choice, Buffalo Trace, and we're putting it head to head with Woodford Reserve. Now let me tell you a little bit about these two. They're both Kentucky straight bourbons. They're both out of Kentucky, obviously, and age-wise, Buffalo Trace is around the 8-year range on average, but it can be up to 10 years. And the Woodford Reserve, from what I could tell online, it was averaging around 7 years barrel age, so very close there. And then also what's close is the mash bill. Buffalo Trace, obviously very high corn, about 85%, and very low rye, like around 5%, where Woodford Reserve also has pretty high corn content. It's I think I read around 75%, so a little bit less than the Buffalo Trace, and a little bit more rye. But not too much to where I expect there to be a huge difference. From what I remember, they both were very similar, but I've never tried them together. So we're gonna see if there's any major differences together. Some other things to note is Buffalo Trace's distilling method. They kind of have this like custom still that's retrofitted kind of column still, sort of pot still, and they can kind of configure it in different ways. It's kind of confusing. I'm not exactly sure how they do all of that, but Woodford Reserve is one of the only places that I'm aware of. I know there's a ton of places that use primarily pot stills. Most places go with column stills. It's very easy to have continuous flow. You don't have to make things in batches, which this is all batch made. So yeah, let's get right down to comparing these, because I mean there's plenty of more information you guys can look up on your own online, what you really are interested in, and how do these smell, how do these taste, what are the differences, and what might be best for me. So I'm gonna start here with the Buffalo Trace. Yep, that standard high citrus, high vanilla, almost cereal-like sweetness on the nose. Woodford, very similar, but a little bit more like cinnamon and spice on there. I think just that hint more of rye does that. I also get a little bit more caramely on this one, where this one is definitely a hit more vanilla. But yeah, let's give it a taste. You've seen me review this many times. Creamy goodness, a lot of citrus, nice bright flavor, a lot of like cereal sweetness to it. Let's try the Woodford. More oily on the front end, which I like. More spice on the back end, which is nice too. Not as sweet. I do get sweetness from like kind of a toffee like sweetness and a little bit of like graham cracker, but definitely has a lot more kick to it, more punch. It tastes younger, although it shouldn't be much younger, but it also has a lot of interesting character to it that the Buffalo Trace is kind of just standard sweetness, very high corn in the mash, and Just overall great and smooth, but I would say kind of basic, where this one is a little bit more complex, but it's a little bit more harsh. So you're kind of getting a little bit of a trade-off in my opinion. But let's do something real quick. I'm going to add a tad bit of water to try to open it up. And a lot of times just that makes a considerable difference. All right, so let's just get a drop or two of water in there. All right, let's see if that opens it up anymore. So alcohol percentage, the Buffalo Trace is 45%, and the Woodford Reserve is 45.2. So basically negligible difference there. I love how just a few drops of water really opens up the Buffalo Trace. Just the same flavors as before. It's just a lot more intensified, I would say, and it kind of balances it out a little bit. It brings a lot more of the sweetness forward, which combats, you know, the harshness that is, you know, just straight bourbon by itself. All right, Woodford. So I'm getting a little bit more of that toffee that I was talking about before, and graham cracker, but overall it's still got that spice, that cinnamon and spice kick that normally is more typical of a rye or a younger or high proof bourbon. So let's give my opinions now. Both are excellent bourbons. If you haven't tried either one of them and you see it, definitely worth trying. But I gotta give the edge over to Buffalo Trace, but this is really personal preference territory here. They're very similar bourbons in quality, complexity, and even style. They're not too far apart. I think for a beginner, you're probably gonna like Buffalo Trace a little bit more. And if you're making cocktails, especially like old fashions or pre-Prohibition era cocktails, I would actually go with the Woodford Reserve. It's got a little bit more of that spice, which is very characteristic of what the whiskey was like for those old-fashioned cocktails. But overall, two really great bourbons. Leave a comment down below with which one of these do you prefer, or any other bourbon that's kind of that mid-shelf $40 US range. Make sure, if you guys like this video, to give us a thumbs up. It just helps the YouTube algorithm put our face in front of more people, and it really helps the channel grow. So we'd really appreciate that. We got a Facebook group online, a Twitter, a Pinterest, and an Instagram, and we're looking forward to seeing you on all those places and in those great communities. So we're looking forward to seeing you online. So until next time, bottoms up.